Joran was not a soldier or an explorer. He was an engineer, a man of machines and circuits who preferred the quiet hum of engines over the chaos of people. His home was a small mining colony on the planet Valora, a place where humans had settled to extract rare minerals that glowed faintly in the dark. Life here was hard, the air thin and the skies filled with storms that could tear apart even the strongest structures. Yet Joran found comfort in routine, in knowing which machine would fail next and how to fix it. It was during one of his evening checks, far from the main settlement, that he heard a strange sound. A soft, trembling cry, almost like a whisper carried by the wind. At first he thought it was a malfunctioning drone or a stray animal. But the sound was different. It was alive, urgent, fragile. Joran followed it, stepping carefully over jagged rocks and through thick patches of glowing moss. The light from his helmet cast long shadows, making the cavern walls appear alive, moving with him. The cries grew louder, sharper, and finally he reached the edge of a collapsed cavern. Rocks had fallen everywhere, and a narrow tunnel led deep into darkness. And there, caught between a pile of debris, was a small creature. It was unlike anything Joran had ever seen. Its skin was soft and pale, almost transparent, glowing faintly with a blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. Its eyes were enormous, black and round, filled with fear. It had tiny limbs, delicate and trembling, and it tried to move, but the rocks pinned it down. Without thinking, Joran dropped to his knees. He touched the creature gently, murmuring words of comfort. "It's okay. I'm here. I will help you." The child tilted its head, letting out a soft squeak like a sigh of relief. Moving carefully, Joran began removing the rocks one by one. Some were heavy, but he used levers and tools from his belt to lift the larger ones. Dust filled the air and his lungs burned, but he did not stop. He had never cared much for risk. But the moment he saw the creature's fear, something inside him stirred. It was not bravery or duty. It was empathy. A human heart recognizing the life of another, even if that life was not human. Finally, the creature was free. It shivered and blinked at Joran, looking exhausted. He wrapped it in a soft blanket he always carried for emergencies. Its glow dimmed slightly and it nuzzled his chest, seeking warmth. Joran smiled, a small, quiet smile that no one on the colony had probably ever seen. "Let's get you back," he said softly. He carried the creature carefully, moving slowly along the rocky path. Each step was cautious, each movement deliberate. He thought about the dangers of taking it back to the colony. Humans were suspicious of aliens. Some might see it as a threat, but he could not leave it here alone and vulnerable. The journey back was difficult. The alien child was small, but heavy enough that Joran felt his arms ache. The winds of Valora whipped around him, trying to knock him down, but he held on. Every so often, the creature made soft noises, almost like a purr, and Joran realized it was trying to communicate. He could not understand the words, but he could feel the meaning: fear, trust, and relief. By the time they reached the colony, the sun was rising over jagged mountains, casting red light across the landscape. Joran moved quietly, avoiding the main streets. He did not want alarm, only safety for the child. Finally, he reached his small quarters, a room filled with tools, screens, and mechanical parts. Here he could tend to the creature without interruptions. He set it down gently on a soft mat and removed the blanket. The alien child blinked at him with curious eyes. Joran took out his medical kit. He cleaned small cuts and bruises, applying healing salves. The creature made soft, pleased noises, and Joran realized that even in pain it was resilient. Stronger than it looked. As he worked, he noticed small details. Its skin shimmered with tiny patterns, like constellations on the night sky. Its fingers were delicate but capable, and its eyes seemed to follow him with intelligence, almost like it was trying to understand him. Joran had never seen anything like it. A life form so different, yet so alive, so aware. Hours passed. The child's breathing became steady. Its glow dimmed to a soft pulse like it was resting. Joran sat back, exhausted but satisfied. He thought about what would happen next. Could he keep it safe? What would the colony say? What dangers might come from the wider galaxy if they found out? Then a sound at the door startled him. It was a soft knock, careful, almost polite. Joran froze. Who would come here at this hour? No one usually visited his quarters. He tightened his grip on a small wrench, ready to defend the child if needed. The door opened slowly, and a small figure stepped in. Not human, not the child, but a scout from the alien species. Its skin shimmered faintly, green and gold in the early morning light. Its eyes were sharp, intelligent, and cautious. "You have taken the child," it said, its voice melodic, clear. "Why?" Joran swallowed. It was hurt. "I could not leave it." The alien studied him. Its expression was unreadable. "You understand the risk," it said. "Taking a child of our kind is not a small matter." "I do," Joran replied honestly. "But leaving it was worse." The alien scout nodded slowly. "You may have saved its life. That is recognized. But be warned. The child's mother will come, and she will demand more than gratitude." Joran's stomach tightened. He had saved a life, but he had no idea what that meant for him. "I will do what is needed," he said. The scout's eyes softened slightly. "Then you are brave, human." "That is rare." As the scout left, Joran looked down at the child. Its tiny eyes opened, gazing at him with trust and recognition. He felt a bond forming, silent but strong. He did not yet know what lay ahead. He only knew he could not turn away. Not from this life, not from this child. Outside, the winds of Valora continued to roar, carrying the scent of minerals and storms. But inside Joran's quarters there was a quiet light, a pulse of life and a promise of something greater. Something that would change not just his life, but the future of the colony, and perhaps even the galaxy. Joran did not yet know it, but his choice to save one small alien would set in motion events that no human had ever faced before, and in the quiet morning, with the child resting safely, he felt a spark of hope, a hope that humans and aliens could understand each other, that courage and compassion could cross worlds, that even a single human heart could matter in the vast universe. The day had begun, and with it, a journey that would test bravery, loyalty, and the true meaning of being human. The sky over Valora burned with orange and red as the morning light stretched across the mountains. Joran had barely slept. His mind raced with questions about the alien child he had rescued. What species was it? How did it live in this dangerous place? And most of all, what would happen when the mother arrived? He had expected something small, cautious, perhaps hesitant. But the reality was far beyond anything he could have imagined. A ship descended from the sky, sleek and luminous, unlike any human design. It floated silently, hovering over the settlement, casting long shadows across the glowing mineral fields. Colonists gathered, staring in awe and fear. Joran stayed in the background, holding the alien child close. Its small body pulsed faintly with light, and it twitched at the sight of the ship as if recognizing something familiar. The ground trembled slightly as the ship landed, and a door opened on the side. From the ship emerged a figure taller than any human, with graceful movements and skin that shimmered like liquid silver. Its eyes were deep and intelligent, watching everything with caution and purpose. This was the mother, Nara. Joran felt his heart tighten. He had saved her child, and now she was here. She approached with calm authority, each step deliberate. The colony fell silent. Even the wind seemed to pause, as if the world itself awaited her judgment. Joran placed the child on the ground gently. It crawled toward Nara and pressed its small body against her legs. She knelt, her eyes softening as she examined her child, brushing a delicate hand over its glowing head. "Child," she said softly, her voice musical and strong. "You are safe." Joran stepped forward. "I am Joran. I found your child trapped under the rocks." "I could not leave it." Nara turned her eyes on him. For a moment, Joran felt exposed under her gaze, as if she could see every thought in his mind. Her expression was unreadable. Then she spoke, her tone firm. "You understand the responsibility you have taken. Saving a young one is not a simple act. It is a bond, a commitment." "I understand," Joran replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "I only wanted to help." Nara nodded slowly. "In our culture, the one who saves a child becomes part of our family until the bond is fulfilled. You will not simply return to your life. You will learn our ways, participate in our rituals, and earn the trust of our people. Only then may your duty end." Joran swallowed. He had not expected this. He had thought his act of kindness would be enough. But now he realized the meaning of his actions reached far beyond a single rescue. "Your people will see this," Nara continued. "They will watch you, test you, and judge your heart. You must be ready," he nodded. "I will do what is needed. I want to keep the child safe." Nara's eyes softened, though they still held power. "Good, you have courage, human." "That is rare." Most of your kind would have left the child to survive or die. You did not. Joran felt a strange mixture of pride and fear. Courage was simple in his own mind, but in this moment he saw its weight. This bond was not temporary. It would change his life. The colony's people murmured among themselves. Some were curious, others wary. Aliens had visited Valora before, but rarely had a family arrived. Never one with rules and customs so different from human understanding. Many looked at Joran as a hero. Others whispered warnings. Be careful. The alien will demand more than you can give. Nara did not address the colonists. She turned to Joran and gestured toward the child. First, you must understand the needs of your new family. The child requires care beyond feeding and healing. It must be nurtured in ways you may not know. Joran knelt beside the glowing child. It looked at him, blinking with large, trusting eyes. He reached out, touching its soft skin. He could feel the faint warmth beneath the glow, a pulse that matched his own heartbeat. I will learn, he whispered. Over the next hours, Nara observed him carefully. She showed him how to interact with the child, how to communicate using gestures and sounds the young one could understand. The lessons were simple but precise. One wrong movement could frighten the child. One wrong tone could break trust. Joran paid attention, remembering each detail, practicing until his movements felt natural. As the sun climbed higher, Nara spoke of her culture. They were explorers, travelers of the stars, and their young were sacred. Protecting them was the highest duty. She explained the rituals of gratitude, the tests of courage, and the ways their bonds worked. Joran listened, fascinated. Despite the strangeness, he understood. These were not rules meant to frighten humans. They were ways to preserve life, honor, and trust. By evening, Joran felt a small confidence growing. He had managed to follow the child's needs and show care in ways he did not know he could. The child glowed brighter, responding to his calm presence. Nara watched with quiet approval. Then a warning came. A scout from Nara's people arrived, reporting movement beyond the settlement. Other aliens unfamiliar to the colony were approaching. They were not her people. They were potential threats, curious or perhaps dangerous. Joran's heart raced. He had not considered dangers beyond the child or Nara's arrival. Now he realized his role was more than caregiver. He was protector. Nara stood, her silver skin reflecting the fading light. You see, human, the universe is not kind to those who are alone. You have chosen to save life. That choice now carries weight. You will face trials not only from us but from those who would harm what you protect. Joran nodded. He felt a strange sense of pride. Fear was natural, but courage came from understanding what was worth protecting. He glanced at the child, who blinked at him with luminous eyes. I am ready, he said. The alien mother smiled faintly, a mixture of respect and command. Good. Tomorrow you will meet the council of my people. They will judge your heart. If they accept you, the bond will be stronger. If not, you will still have to prove yourself. This is our way. Night fell over Valora, painting the sky with stars. The colony was quiet, but Joran could not rest. He stayed with the child, watching its slow, glowing pulse. The weight of responsibility pressed on him, but he welcomed it. Courage, he realized, was not absence of fear. It was acting despite fear, choosing to protect and care for life even when the outcome was uncertain. When the stars reflected in the child's eyes, Joran felt a connection deeper than words. This small life had changed him, awakened something human, something powerful. He was no longer just an engineer on a distant planet. He was part of a story larger than himself, a story of trust, compassion, and bravery that would test him in ways he had never imagined. Morning came, bringing the council of Nara's people. Their arrival was silent, elegant, each movement deliberate. They stood in a circle, observing, judging, and waiting for Joran to act. He knelt before them, the child safe in his arms. You have cared for the young one, their leader said, voice soft but firm. You have shown empathy, but will you endure the trials to follow? Will you embrace our ways without question? Your courage will be tested, human. Your heart will be measured not in deeds alone, but in understanding. Joran met their gaze. I will do what is needed. I will learn and protect. I will not fail. The council nodded. The trials would be difficult, the expectations high. But in that moment, Joran felt a strength within him he had never known. Human courage was different perhaps from theirs, but it was no less real. He had chosen to act when others would not. He had chosen life over fear, and that choice, he realized, would define his path. As Nara's child nestled against him, glowing faintly, Joran felt hope. Despite the unknown, despite the trials ahead, he had made a connection. A bond that crossed worlds, a bond that would shape not only his life but the lives of many others. The day ended with quiet determination. Joran would face the council. He would learn the alien ways, and he would protect the child no matter the cost. For in saving one life, he had discovered the meaning of courage and the truth of being human. The morning sun rose over Valora, painting the mountains in shades of gold and pink. Joran felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. Today he would face the council of Nara's people. Their expectations were high, and he knew their judgment would not be easy. This was not a test of strength alone, but of heart, courage, and understanding. He held the child close as he walked toward the gathering place. The child's small body pulsed with a faint glow, as if sensing the tension in Joran's chest. Its tiny fingers touched his arm, a quiet reassurance. He smiled. "We will do this together," he whispered. The council stood in a large circular chamber carved from crystal-like stone. Light passed through the walls, scattering rainbows across the floor. Their eyes were sharp, intelligent, and focused. Joran felt their gaze settle on him, measuring every movement, every breath. "You have cared for the young one," the leader said, voice calm but firm. "Now you must demonstrate understanding. Your actions will be observed. Your heart will be weighed." Joran nodded. "I am ready." The first trial was simple in appearance but difficult in execution. Joran was asked to perform a task designed for the alien's young. He was to build a small shelter using materials unfamiliar to him. Flexible crystal strands, glowing fibers, and energy-bonded stones. The council watched silently as he studied the components. The alien child crawled near him, its eyes wide with curiosity. Joran could feel its trust, and that gave him courage. He worked carefully, testing each piece, listening to the small murmurs from the child. He experimented, combining materials in ways he thought might work, learning from each small mistake. Hours passed. Sweat ran down his face, his hands ached, but he did not give up. The council observed, and he felt their silent evaluation. Finally, the shelter stood, small but strong. It pulsed softly, a home the child could enter and feel safe. The leader stepped forward. "You have shown care and attention. You learn quickly, human. But learning alone is not enough. You must also show courage under challenge." Joran's stomach tightened. He did not yet understand what was coming, but he prepared himself. The second trial was physical. A chamber within the council's complex shifted, walls moving to create a maze filled with obstacles. Joran was to guide the child safely through it. He looked at the small one, who seemed calm, trusting him entirely. He held the child's hand, feeling the soft, warm pulse. The walls moved and the floor shifted. He dodged falling stones, leaped over energy streams, and shielded the child when sudden traps appeared. Every step required focus. One mistake could endanger the young one. Joran spoke softly, words the child seemed to understand. "This way. Careful now. We are safe." The child's glowing light followed him, pulsing with his movements. Together they navigated the maze, the council observed, nodding in quiet approval. "You have shown protection and bravery," said the leader. "But the greatest trial is not skill or strength. It is the heart." Joran's brow furrowed. Heart. He had cared, protected, and risked himself. What more did they want? Nara stepped forward, her expression calm. "You will face a choice," she explained. "A challenge of loyalty. You will be presented with a path that tests your courage and understanding of family." A side door opened, revealing a chamber filled with glowing orbs. Each orb contained visions, moving images of life, danger, and decision. One orb showed the colony under attack, humans in peril. Another orb showed the alien world in chaos, the child in danger. A third orb showed both in harmony, humans and aliens working together. "You must choose," Nara said. "The vision you follow will shape your actions. You cannot avoid responsibility. You cannot hide. Your choice must honor life." Joran took a deep breath. He looked at the child, who blinked at him with trusting eyes. He thought of the colony, the people he had known for years. He thought of Nara and the child, now part of his life. He realized that courage was not only in facing danger, but in choosing what was right, even when fear pressed close. He reached for the orb showing harmony. Instantly, the vision expanded around him. He saw humans and aliens working together, protecting the young, sharing knowledge and building a future where both species thrived. It felt real, alive, and possible. The council watched as he acted. He guided the child through the vision, showing care and focus. He helped humans and aliens cooperate, solved problems, and ensured safety for all. The orb pulsed with energy, recognizing his understanding. When the vision ended, Joran was breathing hard, exhausted, but steady. He had chosen cooperation, protection, and understanding over fear or selfish survival. The council remained silent for a moment, then the leader spoke. "You have demonstrated more than skill. You have shown heart, courage, and wisdom. You honor life, human. That is rare among your kind. You have earned the trust of the young one and of my people." Joran felt relief wash over him. The trials were difficult, but he had succeeded. He looked down at the child, who glowed brightly, pressing its small body against him in silent gratitude. Nara stepped closer, her expression softer now. "You have proven yourself. But understand this. The universe is vast and danger is not always visible. Protecting life requires vigilance, wisdom, and courage. You are now bound by the promise you made, human, not as punishment but as trust." Joran nodded. "I understand. I will protect them." The council began to speak of the next steps. Joran would learn more about their culture, the ways of their people, and the responsibilities of caring for one so young. It was not simple. It required patience, observation, and empathy. But he was ready. Over the next days, Joran learned to communicate in small ways with the child, using gestures, sounds, and expressions. He learned to recognize its moods, understand its needs, and anticipate its movements. Each day, the bond grew stronger. The child's glow brightened when he was near, dimmed when separated, and pulsed rapidly when afraid or excited. Joran also learned from Nara and the council. They taught him rituals, small tasks that seemed simple but held deep meaning. Feeding, cleaning, and playing were not only about survival but about respect, trust, and family. Every action mattered. Every choice reflected his heart. During this time, Joran also began to notice the uniqueness of his own kind. Human courage, ingenuity, and empathy were different from alien ways, but no less valuable. He found solutions to problems that even the council had not considered, blending human creativity with alien wisdom. Slowly, he gained respect not just from Nara, but from her people. One evening, as the twin suns of Valora set, casting golden light across the settlement, Joran sat with the child and Nara. The three of them watched the sky, silent but connected. Joran felt a sense of purpose he had never known. He was no longer just an engineer. He was a protector, a bridge between worlds, a human whose choices mattered. Nara spoke softly. "You have done well, human. The trials were not easy, but you have shown that courage and heart can cross species, worlds, and boundaries. You honor life. That is what makes you worthy." Joran looked at her, then at the child. "I only did what anyone should do. Protect life when you can." She nodded. "Few humans do. That is why you are remarkable. Remember this, human. The universe is vast, and your choices will shape more than you know." Joran held the child close, feeling its heartbeat, its warmth, its life. He realized that this bond was more than responsibility. It was trust, respect, and hope. A single act of courage had changed everything. A life saved had created new possibilities, new connections, and new strength. The stars appeared in the sky, twinkling above Valora. Joran felt a quiet determination. He would face whatever came next. Threats, trials, and challenges would test him, but he was ready. He had proven courage, learned understanding, and earned trust. And he would continue to protect life no matter the cost. As the night deepened, Joran knew that the path ahead was uncertain. But he was not alone. He had the child, Nara, and the knowledge that humans could make a difference even among the stars. And that knowledge, he realized, was more powerful than any weapon, any skill, or any technology. The first trials had ended. The lessons had begun. And Joran understood something profound. Bravery was not just fighting danger. Bravery was choosing to care, to understand, and to act even when the future was unknown. He looked at the child, who glowed softly, trusting him completely. Joran smiled, feeling hope and pride. He was ready for the challenges ahead. He was ready to prove the strength of humanity, one small act at a time. The morning on Valora began quietly, with golden light spilling over the jagged mountains and glowing mineral fields. Joran was already awake, tending to the alien child whose small pulses of light flickered with curiosity and energy. After days of learning rituals, communication, and care, they had formed a rhythm. Joran could anticipate the child's needs, and the child responded to his presence with trust. But peace is often short-lived in a universe as vast as theirs. A sharp alarm rang through the colony. Red lights flashed and loud sirens echoed against the stone walls. Joran's heart raced. He grabbed the child and ran to Nara, who had already begun issuing commands to the people around her. "They are coming," she said, her voice steady but urgent. "Rivals, they know the child is here. They seek to take it." Joran froze for a moment. He had trained for rescue, care, and understanding, but he had not imagined this. The colony, humans, and aliens together faced a real threat. He looked at the child, who was small and fragile, and then at Nara. He felt a surge of determination. "We will protect them," he said firmly. "Tell me what to do," Nara nodded. "You will help coordinate defenses. Use your human ingenuity. Think quickly. Act decisively." Joran took a deep breath. His mind, trained for engineering and problem-solving, switched to survival mode. He moved quickly through the colony, directing humans to fortify walls, redirect energy flows, and prepare defensive equipment. He instructed alien allies on how to combine their technology with human tools, creating a system that neither species could have developed alone. The attackers arrived in a wave of dark ships, gliding silently above the mountains before descending toward the settlement. Their designs were sharp, aggressive, and unfamiliar. Joran watched from the command point as Nara's people prepared shields and barriers, their glowing energy merging with human machinery. The first strike came fast. Energy blasts hit the outer walls of the colony, shaking the ground. Joran's voice rang out, directing people to reinforce weak points, seal doors, and evacuate vulnerable areas. The human miners and engineers worked quickly, following his guidance, while the aliens created protective energy fields around critical areas. The child whimpered, sensing the chaos, and Joran held it close. "It's okay. We are protecting you," he murmured. Its glow pulsed rapidly, but the warmth of his arms seemed to calm it slightly. Nara's voice cut through the noise. "Joran, use your understanding of the terrain. You know these mountains better than they do. Lead the defenses strategically." Joran moved to the outer perimeter, directing forces to hidden paths, narrow passages, and strong natural barriers. He realized that human creativity and knowledge of the land could give them an advantage. Using simple tools, they rigged traps and obstacles that would slow the attackers without harming the young one or the colony residents. As the enemy advanced, Joran noticed a gap in their formation. It was risky, but he recognized an opportunity. "Nara," he shouted, "divert your forces slightly here. I can guide them into the canyon. It will limit their movement." Nara nodded quickly. "Do it, human. We trust your judgment." Joran led the attackers into the canyon, using rocks and energy barriers to create a narrow path. Their numbers were high, but their ships were not built for such tight spaces. The attackers struggled, slowed, and became vulnerable. The colony's defenders moved in with precision, combining human strategy and alien strength. During the battle, Joran used his engineering skills in ways he had never imagined. He modified energy projectors to create temporary shields, rerouted power to reinforce defenses, and coordinated signals between human and alien units. His mind raced with solutions, each action keeping the child and colony safer. Amid the chaos, one of the attackers broke through a secondary barrier and headed toward the child's quarters. Joran reacted instantly. He activated an emergency shield, blocking the path and holding the enemy at bay. The child, sensing his calm determination, stopped crying and glowed softly. Nara arrived moments later, her presence a wave of authority and strength. Together, they forced the attacker back using coordinated strikes and energy shields. The other enemy forces trapped in the canyon could not advance. Hours passed, though it felt like minutes. The battle raged, but Joran's leadership and quick thinking made a difference. The human engineers and miners worked alongside alien warriors, creating a combined force stronger than any single species could manage. Finally, the attackers retreated, unable to overcome the defenses. The colony had survived, thanks to strategy, courage, and cooperation. Joran stood among the defenders, exhausted, his body trembling from fatigue and adrenaline, but there was relief in the air, a sense of triumph. Nara approached him, her eyes filled with gratitude and respect. "You have done more than we expected, human. You have not only protected the child but the entire colony. Your courage, wisdom, and heart are remarkable." Joran shook his head, still breathing hard. I only did what I had to. We all worked together. The humans and your people together made this possible. Nara smiled faintly. True, but you guided them. You used your mind, your creativity, and your bravery. That is what makes you extraordinary. The child crawled toward him, glowing brightly. Joran held it gently, feeling its warmth and trust. We are safe now, he whispered. Its pulse slowed, a sign of calm and comfort. As the sun set, painting the sky in deep purple and gold, the colony gathered to assess the damage. The walls needed repair. The energy systems were strained, but the settlement had survived. Humans and aliens worked together quietly, sharing knowledge, resources, and reassurance. Joran walked with Nara through the settlement. They will return, he said. Or others like them will. We need to prepare for the future, Nara nodded. Yes, and we will. But you have shown that one human can make a difference. One human heart, brave and determined, can protect many lives. That is what makes your kind unique. Joran felt a quiet pride. He had saved a life, learned new ways, and proved that humans could rise to challenges in a universe filled with unknown dangers. He thought of the child, sleeping safely in his arms, and understood that courage was more than facing enemies. It was protecting life, finding solutions, and standing firm when others might falter. Later, as the stars appeared in the sky, Joran sat outside his quarters. The child lay on a soft mat nearby, glowing faintly. He looked up at the heavens, thinking about the vast universe, the dangers it held, and the possibilities for life and cooperation. He realized that humans had a role to play, not just as survivors, but as protectors, innovators, and allies. Courage was not only about facing threats, but about choosing to act with care and understanding, no matter the odds. Nara approached quietly, her presence calm and reassuring. The trials you face are not over, she said. The universe is full of challenges, but you have shown that humans can meet them. Your actions will inspire both our people and yours. Joran nodded. I will continue. I will protect them and do what is right. That is all I can do. She placed a hand on his shoulder. And that is enough. For now. The colony settled into quiet work, repairing walls and systems, tending to the wounded, and reinforcing defenses. Joran continued learning from Nara and her people, understanding their culture and ways while teaching them aspects of human ingenuity. Together, they built a system stronger than either species alone could have managed. Night fell fully, and the child's glow dimmed as it slept. Joran watched over it, feeling a deep sense of responsibility and connection. He understood that courage and human strength were not measured only in battles fought, but in choices made to protect and preserve life. He had faced the unknown and acted decisively. He had combined his skills with alien knowledge, proving that humans could rise to challenges even in worlds far from Earth. And he knew that the universe would test him again. But he also knew that he was ready. He was prepared to face whatever came next with courage, heart, and determination. Joran's gaze returned to the stars glittering over Valora. The battle had been won, but the journey continued. The child Nara and the colony depended on him, and he would not fail. He had learned that one human could make a difference, that courage could bridge species, and that life, no matter how small or alien, was worth protecting. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new lessons, and perhaps new threats. But Joran was no longer just a man of machines. He was a protector, a bridge between worlds, and a human whose choices mattered. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, but he had found his purpose. And in the quiet of the night, with Valora's twin moons casting soft light over the colony, Joran felt a strength he had never known. Courage was not the absence of fear. Courage was choosing to act, choosing to protect, and choosing to care when others might not. And that was exactly what he would do. The morning light over Valora was soft and calm, a rare quiet after the chaos of the past days. Joran stood outside his quarters watching the twin suns rise. The colony had been repaired, the defenses strengthened, and the memory of the recent attack already beginning to fade. But Joran knew that safety was never permanent. The universe was vast, and danger could appear at any moment. He held the child in his arms. Its small glow pulsed softly, a sign of trust and contentment. It had grown stronger since the day he found it, and the bond between them had deepened. The child's laughter, a soft musical sound, filled Joran's quarters and warmed his heart. Every day with it taught him patience, care, and the strength of human courage. Nara approached, moving with her usual grace. Her eyes, silver and intelligent, were thoughtful as she observed him. "Joran," she said, her voice calm, "the trials are over. The council has judged you. You have proven yourself not only to us but to yourself. Your heart, courage, and understanding are beyond what we expected." Joran looked down at the child, then back at Nara. "I did what anyone would do," he said softly. "I protected life. I helped when I could. That is all." Nara smiled faintly. "Few humans act as you do. That is why I am here. I must ask you to make a choice, human. Your actions have created a bond that cannot be undone. You saved my child. Now you are part of our family, and I cannot allow that bond to end unless you choose it." Joran felt the weight of her words. A bond. Not just obligation, but connection, trust, and life shared. He had imagined returning to his quiet engineering life, repairing machines and living in routine. But that life no longer felt complete. The child's trust, Nara's respect, and the friendships he had formed with her people were more valuable than any comfort he had known. I cannot leave," he said finally. "Not when I have learned so much, not when the child depends on me, not when your people trust me. I will stay. I want to stay." Nara's eyes softened. "Then you will remain with us. You will continue to learn, to protect, and to grow. Your human heart has shown us the meaning of courage and empathy. You have earned your place." The council had gathered in the chamber to witness his decision. Their eyes, once sharp and judging, now reflected approval and respect. They nodded to him in silent recognition, acknowledging the rare bravery and dedication that had saved not only a child but a colony. Joran felt a quiet pride. He had not sought glory, only to do what was right. But in doing so, he had demonstrated something more: the unique power of human courage. It was not weapons, speed, or strength alone. It was creativity, empathy, and the willingness to act when others might hesitate. Over the next days, Joran adjusted to his new life. He worked alongside Nara's people, learning their culture and customs in greater depth. He shared human knowledge and problem-solving skills, teaching them ways to combine technology, strategy, and understanding. Together, humans and aliens developed methods for communication, cooperation, and mutual protection. The child grew rapidly under his care. Each day it became more confident, exploring the settlement, interacting with others, and learning from Joran and Nara. Its glow brightened with curiosity, reflecting the bond between human and alien. Joran often laughed at its playful antics, finding joy in moments he had never experienced in the quiet routine of his old life. One afternoon, as the sun set painting the sky in gold and violet, Joran sat with Nara and the child. The three of them watched the horizon in peaceful silence. Joran reflected on the journey that had brought them together. From a rescue in a dark cavern to trials, battles, and understanding, he realized how far he had come. "You have changed our people, Joran," Nara said softly. "Not only have you protected my child, but you have shown us what humans are capable of. Courage, compassion, and ingenuity can cross worlds. You have built a bridge between species, and that is a rare gift." Joran smiled. "I learned from all of you as much as I taught. You trusted me, and that made me stronger. I never thought a single act could lead to so much, but it has." The child crawled into his lap, glowing softly, and reached for his face. Its small gestures were innocent yet full of understanding. Joran stroked its head gently. "You trust me," he said, "and I will never break that trust. We are a family now." Nara watched quietly, her eyes reflecting pride and relief. "The bond is not just survival. It is trust, respect, and loyalty. You have earned it fully. You will face many challenges ahead, but you will not face them alone." That night, the settlement gathered to celebrate. Humans and aliens shared stories, food, and laughter. The recent attack had strengthened their cooperation, and now, with Joran officially part of their community, they felt unity like never before. Joran observed quietly, feeling the warmth of connection that went beyond any language, culture, or species. During the celebration, a young alien approached him, curious about his human ways. Joran smiled, teaching it a simple human game. Soon laughter filled the area as humans and aliens played together. The child ran among them, glowing brightly, its energy a symbol of hope and unity. Joran realized something profound. Bravery was not only in battles or trials. It was in creating bonds, protecting life, and inspiring others to act with courage. Humans had the ability to change the course of events not only through strength, but through understanding, creativity, and compassion. The next morning, Joran walked with Nara and the child along the glowing mineral fields. The air was fresh, the skies calm. They paused at the edge of a cliff overlooking the valley below. The settlement stretched across the terrain, safe, thriving, and ready for the future. "You have made the right choice," Nara said. "By staying, you honor life, courage, and the bond you have created. We will face future challenges together, but now we are stronger because of your presence." Joran nodded. "I will protect them. I will learn, grow, and face whatever comes. I will not turn away from responsibility or life." The child climbed onto his shoulder, glowing warmly, its small hands holding tightly. Joran laughed softly, feeling a sense of completeness he had never known. In saving this life, he had found purpose, family, and a connection that crossed worlds. Later, as the twin moons rose over Valora, the colony quieted. Joran sat outside his quarters watching the stars. The child rested in his arms and Nara stood nearby observing the heavens. He thought about the universe, vast, unpredictable, and often dangerous, but full of possibilities for those willing to act with courage and heart. He understood that his journey was only beginning. There would be new challenges, new threats, and new lessons. But he was ready. He had proven that humans could make a difference, not only through strength or skill, but through empathy, understanding, and the courage to act when it mattered most. Joran smiled at the child, whose glow reflected the colors of the moons. "We are ready," he whispered. "No matter what comes, we face it together." Nara nodded in agreement. "Together we are stronger. Together, humans and aliens can create a future where life is protected, trust is honored, and courage matters." The night deepened, stars sparkling over Valora, and Joran felt a sense of peace. He had saved a life, faced trials, and discovered the true meaning of courage. He had become a protector, a teacher, a bridge between worlds. And in doing so, he had shown that one human could make a difference in the vast universe. In the quiet of the settlement, with the child resting and Nara watching over them, Joran knew that the bond they shared would last a lifetime. Courage, empathy, and heart had guided him here, and they would guide him forward. The future was uncertain, but for the first time he did not fear it. He had found purpose, family, and a place where his choices mattered. He had proven that humanity could rise to meet the challenges of the stars, and under the twin moons of Valora, Joran, the child, and Nara stood together, ready to face whatever the universe had in store. A human heart, brave and steadfast, had created hope, trust, and a bridge between worlds. The story of courage, life saved, and bonds formed would continue, and Joran understood this fully. He was home and he was ready.